Hi, I'm Ashley Curallo. Welcome to my home. Today, I'm so excited to share a few little thoughts about how I get organized. At the outset, let me say that I feel a little bit guilty about my title because I get overwhelmed just like the best of them. But I have learned a few secrets of taming the inner child in me, and I'm so excited to share those thoughts with you today. I also want to say that this video is not about turning you into a super mom or a super somebody ready to conquer the world. Nope, not in the least. I'm a very ordinary, average person just seeking to serve my family, and I want to give you some ideas of how you can also serve those around you, whether it's your family, whether it's other people at your workplace, at church, wherever. But I just want to share some simple ideas with you of how to stay organized. Last year, I came really close to buying a homemaker bundle from a very well-known blogger, and it was beautiful. She had lists for everything, lists for cleaning, lists for future goals, and I almost bought it. I tried the 1-month free sample that this lady offered, and I just felt like one of Cinderella's stepsisters trying to cram my big ugly foot in this dainty shoe of an organizer. It just didn't work for me. It was beautiful, but it was too complicated. It was too much for me. If you're anything like me, I need simple. I need something that I can understand and that I can easily process. Without even researching or looking on social media, I just grabbed a plain Jane notebook from our office and filled it with notebook paper and some dividers that I already had. I even printed a free monthly calendar from an insurance website. Sounds kind of silly, but it worked great. And I also made up kind of a cheesy looking weekly printable that I'm going to share with you on this video. And using those resources, just a plain notebook, some plain notebook paper, and my cheesy little weekly printable that I came up with, and my monthly printables, I started creating my own day timer that has been working really well for me in the last year. If you're looking for some monthly printables, I highly recommend the monthly printables that I created for 2025. Each month, I've drawn a lovely nature-inspired picture that goes along with the month, and I hope will be a blessing to you. You can find these calendars on my website. I've tried to create a variety of calendars that will appeal to different people. Some of the calendars have scripture at the bottom. Some of them I've left blank. Some of them I've even left completely blank without any dates in them, so you could purchase this calendar and you could customize it to suit your needs. So check out my website. I'll leave a link in the description below. I'm offering 25% off through the end of January, and the code is 2025. So check out my monthly calendars for a beautiful addition to your fridge, your day timer, or your homeschool setting. In this video, I want to talk mainly about the weekly printable that I designed and that I'm also sharing for free on my blog. When you see it, you will think, seriously, Ashley, that is not very pretty. That's the point. It doesn't have to be pretty to be usable and useful. I came up with something that is so simple, and that's the main point. It is so simple that I can use it and it helps me stay focused. Instead of getting lost in a complicated organizer, I've come up with this really simple printable that helps me get organized. Here's my really cheesy notebook that I grabbed from our office. I filled it with my weekly printables that I created, some regular notebook paper, just some little dividers that I already had up in the office, and some free monthly printables. And I got going on creating my own day timer, and it is working beautifully. Part of the beauty of this notebook is its simplicity. It is so easy to use. Also, another aspect of its beauty is that I created it with my mind, and so therefore it works with how I think. My mind isn't having to start thinking and organizing in a way that makes sense for somebody else. No, I created a system from my mind that works and makes sense for me. What I'm going to share with you today may or may not make sense to you, and it might not work, but it might give you some ideas of something that will work for you, and maybe you could create your own printable that does make sense to you and that is helpful to you. So let's talk about how exactly I use my weekly printable. I went ahead and printed off just a blank copy of my printable for you to see. As you can see, it is nothing fancy. It's nothing glorious, but that's what makes it so usable. You can see on this printable that I just have a blank space, week of, and then what I do is I write down the dates for that week. And you can see in the next section, it says weekly to-do list. This is perhaps one of the most important parts of this whole printable. What I like to do at the beginning of each week is I like to sit down and write down about 8 to 10 things that I hope to accomplish that week. I may or may not get to all of those items, and I certainly have to prioritize which ones genuinely need to get done. But by putting on paper, it helps me organize my thoughts, and it helps me prioritize what really is the most important and what are things that I just would like to get done and I may or may not have time to do them. This is kind of like a brain dump, just writing everything down. Sometimes I even roll over tasks from the previous week. Let's say I didn't get something done the week prior. I may then take that task that I wrote on the week before. I'll add it to my new weekly to-do list. So as I said, this weekly to-do list, this is really my main section that I really focus on each week. And I purposely try not to fill it too full with too many things. I can only accomplish so much, especially at this stage in my life. I'm a homeschool mom, I'm a teacher, I help with music at our church. I have a lot on my plate. So I try to be very realistic about what I write on this weekly to-do list. 8 to 10 things that I can manage. And even if I can't complete an entire task, I try to write down manageable tasks that I can actually accomplish in a week. Now, below the weekly to-do list, you'll see that I have 4 boxes. And in my day timer, I have 4 sections, and my sections say blog/YouTube, then church, lunch, composition, which is basically me writing music, and then church music. Those describe 4 areas of my life that I am heavily involved in. Obviously, I write a blog, I create YouTube videos, so this is a place so that first box is a place for me to write down all my ideas about blogging or YouTube. Then the next box is church. I often make a meal for Sunday, so that's a place for me to organize my thoughts of what's my menu, what am I making, who's coming. Then the next box, composition, those are just ideas for what music am I writing, what other writing projects am I working on. And then the last box, I help out with music at our church, so that just helps me stay organized of, okay, what's the choir going to work on Sunday, who's doing offertory, whatnot. More often than not, I forget to write things down, or I don't write things down. I just think about it in my mind and then I do what I'm supposed to. So I'm trying to get better at this of actually writing things down, because I often have the greatest success when I actually put my thoughts to paper and put it down. Now, on the free weekly printable that I'm offering on my blog, I left those 4 boxes blank. And you might be thinking, okay, what's with the 4 boxes, Ashley? I can only contribute to so many areas outside of my main responsibilities. So I liken it to a home cook who's cooking on her stove, and you've usually got about 4 burners. And let's say it's Thanksgiving dinner and you've got all 4 of those burners going and you're stirring all those pots. 4 is about as many pots as a normal cook can handle. If you're superwoman and can do more than that, hats off to you. But in life, I kind of liken activities or responsibilities kind of like those 4 pots. I can really only successfully manage about 4 areas in my life and do them well. So that's where the 4 boxes came from. Those are the main 4 areas of my life where I'm contributing in some form or fashion. Right, so once I've sat down at the beginning of the week and I've written down my ideas, my weekly to-do list, what do I need to get done, then I've written down some ideas for the 4 main boxes, then I start getting down into the actual days, the nitty-gritty of life. And usually what I do is I pull down from my weekly to-do list and then I pull it down into the days. So for example, let's say it's Monday. I'll look at my weekly to-do list and say, okay, what can I get done today from my to-do list? And then I usually pick about 2 items from my weekly to-do list, and I write it down on my day on Monday, and I try to accomplish those things. I may or may not get everything done, and that's okay. If I don't get it done, I roll it into the next day. Another thing I often do with my day timer, I always try to write down school. I know that sounds silly, and you might think, Ashley, why are you writing school down when you know it's a homeschool day, if it's a homeschool day? Well, I do that purposefully to remind myself that school takes time. School isn't just a 15 minutes and then we're done. School is a huge part of our day when we're homeschooling, and I need to be reminded of the importance of it, and I need to prioritize school and make sure that in my thinking and in my planning, I have made an adjustment that, okay, today's a school day. I'm not going to pack it full with 5 or 6 other tasks that I hope to get done. Usually each day I can get about 3 main tasks done. So usually my days look like this. On my calendar, I'll write school, chores, and 1 other task. Maybe 1 or maybe 2 other tasks. That's an average day for me. So school, chores, 1 or 2 other tasks. And that's really reality for me, folks. I can't get done much more than that. And hats off to those who can get a lot done, but this is what I'm physically, mentally, and emotionally able to handle each day. And so I try to be realistic when I write in my day timer. This pretty much wraps up how I use my printable. Obviously, you don't have to use it exactly how I use it. You might not even like my printable, and that's fine. You can come up with something that works for you. But one of the most important things I've learned this past year is the importance of writing things down. When I write things down, it helps me stay focused. It helps me prioritize and realize what is the most important. And oftentimes what I feel like doing in a moment is not the most important thing, and it's not what I really should be doing. But by writing down the tasks I need to do at the beginning of each day, it helps me focus my mind and keep my mind focused on the things that I'm supposed to do. So for example, if I write down school and chores and maybe 1 other task, today's not the day to spend hours working on adding pictures to our family photo album. As much as I would like to work on that, that's going to have to be a project for later, probably a day that I don't have to homeschool. But when I adjust my expectations to reality and what needs to get done in a day, then I'm able to be successful and accomplish the things I'm supposed to get done. I'm not a perfect organizer, but I hope this gave you some ideas of how to stay organized. I hope to do more videos on how to stay organized. I hope to do videos on how I use my notebook, weekly planning, and then also daily planning. So today is really the start of what will hopefully turn into a mini series of how I stay organized. And thank you to that person who asked me on a YouTube short several months ago how I stay organized and how I do planning sessions. And so thank you for your comment. Your comment really was the springboard for getting this video started. So I hope this video is a help to you. I hope it's an encouragement to you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful week.